So I know I just did this big nasty video about how we just hit the SOM rule and entered into a recession and all of that. You can check out that last video I did. It's pretty interesting. But here I am today. I just am in front of a local Texas Roadhouse, and the song that's playing is "Money Can't Buy You Love, but It Can Buy You a Truck." And I was just looking around at all of the different trucks in this parking lot, F-150's in particular. I know I have a thing about F-150's. I mention them in my videos a lot, but it seems like everybody in Utah has one. And these things are, what, about $35,000 to $55,000? And I see them everywhere. And I'm just wondering a few things, like if we're in a recession, and I believe we are, we just entered into one, how is it that this place is full every single night? Because I go by it every single night. It is absolutely full. Maybe it's just Texas Roadhouse. I like them too. I know a lot of restaurants aren't doing that good. But it's crazy to me. And how can they afford these F-150's and all these other trucks here? I'm just trying to figure that out. So I'm going to go back and do a little research. All right, so I'm in the neighborhood adjacent to that Texas Roadhouse, not far from where I live, and I'm looking around. A lot of trucks. I've seen 4, 5, 6 F-150's already, and even a Cybertruck. And I think those go for like 100,000 or so. But just looking around, normal houses like this one here, these are going for $700,000 right now. Okay, so there you go. You got the guy with the house and a nice truck out front, probably eating at the Texas Roadhouse. And look at that, another one. And what I'm thinking, that's actually an F-350. I think that's even more. But I'm just trying to figure out, again, how can people afford this? We are in a recession. I just pointed that out. Now, not everyone knows this. It just happened. The SOM rule just kicked in. You can watch my last video if you're wondering what that is. But what the heck is going on? Is this going to change all of a sudden? Or are we all just in debt? Are we all just in debt in a lifestyle that we can't afford? I'm really intrigued. I'm going to do more research. So these are the homes in the neighborhood here. And you can see the low end for a townhome is 410, 1,400 square feet. And the average is, 609, 3-bedroom, 3-bath, 764, 5-bedroom, 3-bath. So between 600 and 700 for a house, between 4 and say 500,000 for a more of a townhome type of thing. That's the neighborhood we're in. And it is not a rich neighborhood. This is what you'd call a pretty basic middle class neighborhood. And we saw the amount of trucks that they had in front of their yards. And just looking at the price of those F-150's, the new ones are going for $47,000, $54,000. You can go back a few years, 2020, 2021, you're looking at $35,000. Yeah, so actually they go as high as $62,000, maybe even more if you're fully loaded. And just wondering, well, like what the F-350's go for these days, because I saw a lot of those. Oh my goodness, up to 87,000 here for a new one. Whoa, that's 100,000 there. So these are not cheap. These are, wow. I mean, I know Cybertrucks were over 100,000. I did not realize the F-350 was. So anyway, seeing a lot of these and just wondering how people can afford it. Okay, and speaking of Texas Roadhouse, this is one of those places that's bucking the current trend in restaurants. I do have shorts on many individual restaurants. I am not shorting Texas Roadhouse because I can look out my window and I can see how busy they are all the time. They literally are busy all the time. And but here's the chart, doing very well. From just in October of last year, they were down to right around between 90 and 100. They're now selling for between 160 and 180. Current price is 165 per share. They just had earnings and they beat earnings yet again. So where's the recession, right? Certainly not at Texas Roadhouse, and certainly not at Wingstop. Same kind of thing. This is one of those places that's bucking the trend. They did have earnings and they beat earnings as well, 93 cents. Unlike McDonald's and Chipotle and some of these other places that are having trouble, these guys seem to keep going. I guess we just like our steaks and wings as Americans. I think that's a big part of it. I saw people I know there at Texas Roadhouse, and they're just normal people, and again, it makes you wonder, are people in debt? Are people doing okay? Do they not know there's a recession around the corner? Would they even change if they knew that? Would they even change if they knew that? Now, keep in mind, this layoff phenomenon has really just started. We just hit a recession now. Things are slowing down. What's the proof of this in the jobs market? Well, we've got the jobs numbers here from the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, and you can see we've steadily been rising in unemployment since July 2023. So a little over a year, we've gone from 3.5%, and then the numbers came out Friday, 4.3%. And that's the way they currently count unemployment. Years ago, they used to use this U6 number here, and you can see that's a little higher. I don't know why they changed it. Maybe they wanted to show lower numbers, but that's been rising as well. It started at 6.7% back in July a year ago, now up to 7.8%. So either way you look at this, the number of unemployed people are rising. It's probably worse than these numbers. I know they count part-time jobs. So if you have two part-time jobs, you just got laid off at your one full-time job, that's going to count as gaining jobs, right? And that's actually what we've been seeing over the last year is gains in part-time jobs. Full-time jobs are actually losing. So with that in mind, let's take a look at layoffs. Who's laying off right now? In the tech world, we just had a 15,000 person layoff at Intel. 15% of the company, that's in hardware. Tesla, of course, laid off 14,000, Google 12,000, Meta 21,000, Microsoft 10,000, Amazon 19,000, Ericsson and SAP 8,500 and 8,000. So they're not hiring as they used to. I have a lot of friends in the industry. It's something I've worked in for the last 25 years, and people are having a harder time getting work. I know people who've been out of work for over a year, and that's got to be very, very hard. I hope I never or anyone I know find myself in that situation because that would just be very hard. I don't know what a lot of people would do, if you're out of work and you're just making the payments on your house and your F-150 and everything. I mean, if this number continues to rise, we're going to really see some craziness. But you can see that transportation and hardware, that is, computers and things like that, is being hit. But the amount of layoffs right now is actually relatively low compared to where it was, but it is ticking higher and has been consistently for the last year. So I think we're in the beginning phase of this. I think come late fall, early winter, as I've been saying over and over again after the elections, I think you're going to see a lot of layoffs. I think people are going to realize at that point that we're in a recession. Nobody knows about the SOM rule that I just mentioned in my last video. They don't see any difference, and I don't see much difference looking around. People are still going out and eating and using their credit cards and everything. But at that point, I think people will take note of what is happening in the economy. Again, if you're wondering what the median income is in this area, it is about 119. I guess this one's more recent, 129,000, which is actually not bad. That's a little better than middle class. And the individual median income for an individual is about 56,000. So that's two people working and contributing to a household. That's what the average income is around here. Is that enough for a $700,000 house and a new F-150? Probably not. I'm sure a lot of these people bought their houses many years ago when they were a lot cheaper. As far as debt, I don't have specific debt in this area, but as a whole, this is the chart of credit cards and other revolving plans. So these are revolving debts with banks and credit cards. And you can see we are way off the charts at a time when interest rates are at their highest. This is going to be a major factor this recession. I don't think people are going to be able to keep up with this debt for much longer. And when they have to sell their houses and F-150's, that's when you see everything kind of hit the fan. Because right now, nobody wants to sell their home. They're doing everything they can not to sell their home, even if they kind of need to, because you've got this 2 or 3% mortgage rate. So that's where we're at right now. At some point, people will be forced to sell, especially if this revolving credit continues to rise. There's just no way that they can pay for that. So the purpose of this channel is to figure out the best investments out there, share them with you. I'm exploring more investments all the time. I'm gotten really good at stocks and Forex. I want to expand into real estate. I've looked into this. I did a video just a few videos ago on Utah real estate and how I believe it is impossible to buy a new house here in Utah and rent it out and make that work. I did the math on it. It didn't work at all for the numbers that I had. If you can prove me wrong on that, I would love to know how it would work. But so far, I'm seeing that it doesn't work, and probably for the people who've tried it in the last couple of years, they may be in trouble, and that may contribute to the upcoming recession here. If just a few of them lose their jobs and they've got to sell those properties at a time when interest rates are really high like this, that means the prices are going to have to come down. Now, Peter Schiff just a couple of days ago said prices are going to go down some huge number, like 80 to 90%. I don't believe that, but I don't know. He's more familiar with real estate than I am, but it just doesn't sound right. But they do have to come down at least a decent amount for anyone to be able to afford these places and not just use them for their own use, but to rent them out as things have been going in the last 10 years or 20 years. I don't think you can do the same things you can do in the last 20 years to make money as in the next 20 years. That's my opinion. I would like to get into real estate, however. I do think it's a great opportunity, but not right now. I mean, the math doesn't make sense. I would also like to buy a business. That's something I've been looking into, and maybe I'll do some videos on that. But it doesn't make sense either until we sort of get past this recession. Maybe the best time to buy a business or a real estate is during a recession at some point, and we're just not there yet. Anyway, looking at what are some good investments right now, I'm still looking at silver. Silver has outperformed going year to date. This is silver, the purple line, and the candles here are the S&P 500. S&P is up about 12%. Silver is up about 20%. So outperforming this year. It doesn't always do that. In fact, most of the time, stocks will outperform precious metals. Just going back in history. Let's take a long look at this, and you can see if we go back all the way to 2013, stocks are up 292%, while actually precious metals, silver is down a little bit. There was a spike, I guess, back then in 2013, but kind of flat. Not that exciting if you look at it long term, but if you look at it in the short term or what it's been doing this year, yeah, it's got some potential to continue to go up. Well, until I can find something that actually makes sense to invest in, I'm going to continue just doing what I'm doing, which is trading and short-term investing, Forex and futures and stocks. I'm doing pretty well there. I hope to make $190,000 per year. That's my target, and I'm well on my way to doing that. I've just got to keep going. But as I do that, I'm looking for maybe other ways to diversify, put some money in that I don't quite frankly have to work so hard for. Real estate looks like a good option, or a small business or something like that where I can own it but not necessarily manage it. Those things are hard to find, and it seems like it's the wrong time right now, but I'll keep looking. I'll keep sharing those things with you. Thanks, guys. Oh, and by the way, please like the video or share it or do whatever. It really helps me out. I'm trying to grow this channel.